Joining us now, former FEMA administrator during the Obama administration, Craig Fugate, and he coordinated Florida's response to Katrina as the state's emergency management director. Craig, what lessons did we learn after Katrina, and what positive changes have been made since?
Well, the biggest thing was Congress did an investigation, made recommendations, and passed legislation called the Post-Katrina Emergency Management Reform Act. And it gave FEMA specific missions, but it also required that the FEMA administrator have experience in emergency management. And probably the thing that, we saw a lot of this disjointed response, a lot of red tape, wasn't sure who to, get stuff from. Congress, again, in reforming that, made it clear that FEMA was going to coordinate on behalf of the president, the assistants, and that FEMA would not have to wait for a governor to do assessments to determine something's bad. That's really the key thing here is you got to get faster, and you can't wait till you know how bad it is before you start responding, or you won't get there in time.
It sounds like there has been some progress made, but have we forgotten any of the lessons that we should have learned 20 years ago?
Unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of the same issues today that we saw prior to Katrina when it comes to FEMA and its role in the Department of Homeland Security. Congress addressed those, but we don't have a career emergency manager. We do not have a Senate-confirmed FEMA administrator as we go into the peak hurricane season. We've had substantial reductions in staffing. We're seeing a lot of morale issues, very similar to what was going on at FEMA prior to Hurricane Katrina.
So I want to read a statement that we just got. This was just released to mark the 20th anniversary of Katrina from FEMA and the Department of Homeland Security. A spokesman says FEMA failed Americans in real emergencies for decades. So to your point, is this new version of FEMA that is sort of emerging under the Trump administration with funding and staffing cuts, is that addressing these alleged failures over the course of those many years?
We'll have to wait to see, but these were the same statements being made about FEMA and the reductions to FEMA staff by Homeland Security prior to Katrina.
So it's the same thing being echoed. As we see more and more natural disasters wreak havoc in our communities, of course, we have seen what happened in Texas. What more needs to be done in your mind to ensure that FEMA is prepared to deploy not only before these disasters take place, but stay on the ground afterwards to help with recovery?
Well, the first thing is get rid of the requirement that anything over $100,000 has to be signed off by the secretary. That's nonsense in responding to disaster. The second thing, which I do agree with the president, there is a lot that can be done to reform the processes around the reimbursement. And that, I think, when most people complain about FEMA, is the crux of the matter. We have made the reimbursement process too complex. It takes too long. It's something that I think we can reform. Congress has got a first bill out in House that addresses this from the House Transportation and Infrastructure. So the president's right. We need to reform the way FEMA does business, but we also need to make sure FEMA is able to do its job.
So it sounds like there still is bureaucratic red tape, but are you optimistic about the outlook for FEMA going forward?
Well, my experience tells me that everybody at FEMA will rise to the occasion and do their best. But doing your best may not be good enough if there's not enough there to coordinate that response.